Thank you very much. North Korea is still looking to flex its military might. Can President Trump stop this without using force? To former presidential envoy to Iraq, Ambassador Paul Bremer. Ambassador, United States, of course, not only carrying this big stick, but we've used it a few times to Vice President Pence's point. Do you think, though, that message will make it through to North Korea and these grand ambitions that no one really understands what the end game would be?
Well, the important starting point is to recognize that no American president will accept that a rogue terror state like the one in North Korea can hold millions of Americans hostage, which is the effect they would have if they could marry an intercontinental ballistic missile with nuclear weapons. So any president, whether it's Mr. Trump or anybody else, cannot accept that. So we're going to have to find a way to stop that, and as the National Security Advisor said over the weekend, they obviously have a preference for doing this by peaceful means if they can find a way.
Well, this isn't an overnight development, though, so why all of a sudden this sense of urgency? Is it because we believe that they are on the cusp of not only having the nuclear weapon, but being able, perhaps despite that ugly miscue yesterday, being able to deliver it to a target, an ally, or even the United States?
Well, I don't think we should take too much comfort in the fact that one missile failed. I mean, they've failed before,
sure,
but they've made steady progress over the years, and perhaps are preparing another nuclear test. Look, in the end, a peaceful solution is possible, but the people we have to negotiate with are the Chinese, not the North Koreans. And we have to find a way to come to some acceptable end state with the Chinese, something that we can both accept in relation to the Korean Peninsula. And that is going to be a very, very tough, difficult, and delicate negotiation.
Well, President Trump tweeting over the weekend that perhaps one of the reasons he hasn't called out China on currency manipulation was that it's part of that bargaining that you've just described. To what length should we go? I mean, would we ignore even all of the issues with trade, our trading relationship with China, all of that? Would that be enough? Would that be on the table to deter a nuclear North Korea?
It wouldn't be enough. What I'm talking about effectively is America developing a strategy for dealing with what happens north of the 38th parallel and coming to an agreement with the Chinese about that. It's a much bigger, much more important problem than whether we call them a currency manipulator or what our trade balance is. It requires a strategy. There are signs that the administration is certainly working towards a policy. I'm not sure yet that they have a strategy, but they have to come to a strategy, and then they have to have some very serious, private, quiet talks with the Chinese.
In the past, when North Korea has done these sort of things, they were appeased or assuaged, if you will, with bribes, essentially. It feels like maybe that's not going to work this time. So if you back Kim Jong-un into a corner, then you certainly have a military outcome to this, don't you?
Well, my point is that the negotiating partner we need to talk to are the Chinese, not the North Koreans. I don't think there's a way to persuade...
But to your point, wouldn't they, in turn, talk to or threaten the North Koreans at some point? Is North Korea in this equation at all?
If we can get an agreement with the Chinese about an acceptable end state on the Korean Peninsula, then as part of that, the Chinese would have discussed with the North Koreans how we get from A to B.
So, sir, let me just jump in, because are you saying that we will try to get some sort of a de facto agreement with China that we may have to use military force and get their agreement to that?
Or we may have a de facto agreement that they agree to help us implement that brings about a different situation politically and militarily on the Korean Peninsula. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to use force.
It's hard for people watching this from the outside who don't understand all the internal ramifications, but have watched this play out year over year, missile launch after missile launch, how you get to a peaceful resolution with this, even with China involved.
Well, you won't get to a peaceful resolution unless China's involved, is my point. And it obviously is very sensitive. But, and I think the administration, I hope the administration is beginning to move towards a strategy here that does allow them to succeed in what they want, which is to have a non-nuclear North Korea. Certainly we cannot afford to have the North able to hold American cities hostage. Can't happen.
Ambassador Bremer, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Nice to talk to you, Charlie.
You too.